Thank you very much for such a warm welcome. And today, here we all are present to ponder upon uh, an important question that is, should we be a leader where we are, or do we need a title or a position to do the same? All right. So, to begin with, just a little brief about myself. I'm Miss Manju Navani, as already introduced, and currently I'm working with 21K School, which is an online only school. And I have over 12 years of experience now, spanning from industry to teaching and also in admissions and marketing. Over the years, I have gained quite a diverse range of experience, I would say. And currently, I am pursuing my PhD in education from Somaya, and today I'm here to share some of my insights in a friendly chat, we could say, or a friendly discussion. Okay. So to begin and understand the objectives of this session or workshop would be that we are looking to understand what it means to be a leader in the teaching community, which is quite diverse and different when it comes to comparing it with corporate world. Yeah, where the hierarchy is quite structured and well developed. And when we compare that with our teaching community or education industry in general, where we find the hierarchy to be quite scanty. Okay. How to be a leader in this situation is what we will be talking about. We'll be talking about certain traits that I have picked up over my 12 years of experience and, which allowed me to be a leader where I am and which can definitely help our new teachers, student teachers who are looking into entering this field, as well as existing facilitators and leaders alike. We will be developing actionable strategies to lead from where we are. Now, the first thing I would like you to wonder about is what comes to your mind when you hear the term leader. You can take a minute, maybe close your eyes, reflect on this question, and visualize. When you hear the word leader, what comes to your mind? For those of you who would like to participate in the Mentimeter, can definitely follow the link shared in the chat box. Okay. Oftentimes, when we, at least from my personal experience, when we talk about a leader, and what comes to my mind and what used to come when 12 years back, when I entered the workforce, generally, someone sitting behind a desk in a position of authority and someone who directs and gives orders to do things. Yeah. So that was what, from our education system, from our time, what we have observed, what we have been conditioned to follow and what we have observed even when we have entered the workforce, we have observed that. So generally, someone in a position of authority would be someone that comes to our mind. But definitely nowadays, as we are more exposed to leadership theories, we are exposed to understanding what leadership is and also exposed to interacting with our peers better. We can see that as we have got a response, a leader would be a pathfinder, and that is well said. And that path can be found with anyone. We don't need to have a position or a title to find that path. Our path can be found by any individual present within the team. So let's ponder upon it a bit more. Now, definitely leadership is need of the hour, especially in the field of education, because we are the ones who are preparing the next generation for the future, a future which we don't know anything about. With the dynamics changing, the kind of jobs that we have changing, we really don't know what we are preparing our students for because we don't know what is going to come up in the next 10, 20 years. But we surely do know that skills and approaches are something that we can deliver in our students by being a good role model. Now these skills would be being persistent, being resilient, being a problem solver, a design thinker, being a leader. Okay, so a teacher or a facilitator, it doesn't matter whether we are a coordinator or a principal or we are the trustee or we are head of schools. We need to be a leader where we are because we are the role models for our students, right? And we are the ones developing leadership in them. So it is imperative for us and it is the need of the hour for us to be the leaders first. Now, definitely, as I told you, education follows a dynamic nature as a field. And here we all are responsible to make things, more impactful. We are not just the coordinator or the principal, each one of us. As North House in 2021 reminds us that leadership is a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. And that individual can be anyone, you, me, everyone. Now, again, a quick show of hands, or you just can think about this question. Do you consider yourself a leader? Why or why not? Just think about it. I conducted a survey before this study, before this workshop. I conducted a survey on my peers and on my batchmates and student teachers in my college from where I'm doing PhD, to find out what are they feeling about leadership, and what do they how do they approach this topic. And I found out certain traits and their approaches towards the same. 85% said that flexibility and adaptability are their most important leadership traits according to them. So definitely, I do second that. You have to adapt to change. We all have gone through the lockdown, the shift from offline to online workspaces, and we have been, when the people who were flexible and people who could adapt, they sustained, they thrived, they in fact grew, and the people who were rigid and who were, not that open to change were the ones who faced the most difficulty. So being a leader where you are, you need to be flexible, you need to be adaptable. 70% found that small teacher-led initiatives are more impactful than large-scale programs. So facilitators and educators are at the ground level. We are the ones who come to know about problems firsthand, and we should be the ones who should come up with the solutions for the same. Running solutions, it does not be a large thing. It can just be that delta change, a small change, and it can have a ripple effect throughout. So that approach needs to be there, that proactiveness, taking initiative. 65% emphasize the power of collaboration and peer mentorship for professional growth. So holding hands with your peers is definitely something which will help them grow and which will allow you also to become more adept at what you do. 90% actively engage in self-reflection to improve their teaching and leadership skills. Now, of course, at the end of the day, we need to sit and we need to reflect back on what we have done already and what can we do better. What are the problems we identified? What are the solutions that we can come up to without, depending on someone else to give us a guideline or a document to follow. Now, let's talk about how can we be a leader from where we are. As I said, the number one thing is being proactive. Don't wait for instructions. Don't wait for someone to tell you what to do, especially for student teachers who are going to enter into the field. You don't go to this field or enter this field thinking that, you would be told what to do. Definitely, you would be given your classes, some tasks, but it is your job to be proactive when you observe a problem to get a solution for that. Initiative can help your school. You think, you can come up with a brilliant new event. You share that idea. Be the one to, get that idea out. Second is help your peers. Whenever a new person is joining your team, be the one to mentor them. Be the one to be there for them as a peer. Collaborate with them. Collaboration definitely will improve the entire workforce, the environment, and also it allows us to solve problems better. Next would be say yes. Now, often we go, to our work settings and we think, okay, this is my job and this is it. I don't want to do anything more. And I would do this and that's it. I'll go home. But that is not going to allow you to grow. I'm not saying that work beyond your hours. I'm not saying that be a scapegoat or, be someone who will just keep on working, working, working. But analyze the opportunities coming your way. Don't let opportunities go. You see if somebody is not there and you can step into their position and take the lead, be there as a face of the school. Go do that. If you feel that there's an event upcoming, a parent meeting or a parent workshop, which, you have been offered today, take it up. You can say no. Definitely you can say no, but you should not. Opportunities, don't look at it as additional work. Never. Look at it as an opportunity to be there, to show yourself, show your talent. I'll give you one example over here. When I entered this field of teaching, For initial 2 years, I did not get a lot of chance, because you enter as a new teacher or a facilitator. And often you have been given your classes and you're not expected to be there for everything. But repeatedly in 2 years in my self-appraisal form, I made sure that I write there, I put there that I want opportunities. I want to be presented with some chances to do something more. And that's how in year 3, 4 onwards, I got those chances. And then there was no turning back. Then I was able to prove that what I can do, and it was well accepted, well respected, and well appreciated. This is how you come up. This is how you show your face out there, right? And this is how you grow to the next level. Just sitting behind the shadows is not going to help. Next, you have to be inclusive. You have to ensure that you are sensitive, you are inclusive of each and every peer, each and every student in your institute. It is imperative that we keep our stereotypes to ourselves and we try to be sensitive when we are dealing with each and every person. Next, of course, we discussed about this to pause and reflect. You will get lost if you don't stop and reflect. If you keep on, if you're walking, and you're doing everything, but without a direction, it's not going to help. So we need to pause, we need to reflect, we need to think. Is this thing going to take me to the place or goal where I want to be? Yes or no? If not, change your path, modify your path, improve your path. So these are few of the tips, we can use to be the leader where we are, without a position, without an authority. And of course, this is going to, at the end, help us to reach there. Now, some anecdotes from my journey that I wanted to share. Now, what being a leader looks like. Okay, I'm just like you. I can't say I'm no better than you, no worse than you. I am you. But at the same time, I'm someone who would be proactive. And what did I gain from that is what I want to share. To give you, kind of a real life window or a sneak peek into how life becomes if you are proactive and you are being a leader where you are. Number one. So since the time I started working in the industry and corporate, when I, shifted from my corporate to teaching and education field, for the last few months, I was working as a part-time, employee. And when I resigned, there was some goof up in my full and final settlement. My leaves were not, encashed the way it should be. So I ensured that I write out to the HR department. I did not accept that, of course, not because it was monetary, but because it went against the policy. It went against the something which should have been. So I went behind them. I told them, I was in a conversation with them, and that led to a policy change altogether in the document. Now, that is the impact. Now, somebody else who will come after me will not face that problem. Second, when I was in my previous school, the Aditya Birla Integrated School, a wonderful place to be at, I was there, and when it was a special needs school. And because I had to, move to a more mainstream school, I had to leave that place. But before leaving, I did, connect with the HR team and I told them, there's no IJP policy here. We should really think about it. We should come up with that so that everybody gets an opportunity to grow according to their skill set, right? And before leaving, I was happy that there was an IJP policy and, one of the interviews were even conducted. So that is the impact you make. You don't just see, for your self-interest, but how can you make it better for others? So policy changes, policies, you can work on it, you can look into it, and you can suggest things over there. Peer training and mentorship. The moment I got an opportunity, if digital skills are my forte and, COVID-19 struck, that was my area to, contribute more to the team. I was able to train my peers, help them out, handhold them due to, during this difficult time. Continuous learning, I'm a big teacher of continuous learning. You should never stop learning. You should pick up, a workshop, or you should go for a certification course, or just continue your studies, go to the PhD level. Just keep on learning. Learning should never stop. Taking on new roles and challenges. As I said, I never say no. You come up with a role, even if it's not, on paper, even if it is not the next level, but it will take you one step closer. So don't say no to being the exam coordinator or being the events in charge. Say yes for it. So one of the experience, one anecdote I'll share here. My events director in my previous school fell sick, and I was given the opportunity to handle and direct an entire annual day show just 2 days before the show. So handling the equipment from the walkie-talkies, from the lights, from the camera, from the action, everything, something that I never did. Definitely, it did make me anxious. I was definitely, scared, but I took it as an opportunity and I worked with it. And now I can proudly say that I can handle all the equipments for conducting an annual day show or an event. So that is how you build your repertoire. Now, moving on, exploring the limit of your influence and the ability to use it for the betterment of your peers and students. As I told you about the policy change, if you are someone who carries that spark, who can influence others, you should use it and think of ways how to make everything better. Shall I include a research-based project for my students? Shall I make them write a research paper? Shall I make them do CAS activities? Something which can really, really add on to their, betterment. Internship opportunities, think about it, reach out, asking questions, never stop asking questions. Never be afraid of authority. They are just humans like you and me. If they are in position, definitely respect the position, but at the same time, you have every right to question things which you feel should be done differently. Or if you have a question which can make things better, it is absolutely okay. We don't need to say yes to whatever, we are thrown at. We can ask how to do it. Can we do it in a different way? It doesn't, I'm not saying that question everything your peers and your supervisors say, but at the same time, ask questions. Asking questions will definitely make things better. So these are some anecdotes from my personal journey, as I would say. Now, how to make our own leadership plan? I would like you to sit, identify, do a SWOT analysis, strengths, your weaknesses, threats, opportunities presented to you. Make a chart, sit with it, reflect on your strengths, weaknesses, areas of improvement. Set some smart goals of how you can, make a difference from where you are. Can I, if some student is facing a common problem across all subjects, maybe a student is not able to or facing difficulty with words and spellings, we can hold a remedial session for the student. So you don't need permission for that. You can schedule a remedial session. You can propose it, right? So things like that. Come up with solutions. Plan actionable steps to implement changes from where you are. Identify problems. Sit one day quietly, just observe where you are in your workplace. See if you can spot some problems and identify those and then try to solve those problems. If you practice this day in and day out, automatically this will become your nature, your second nature rather. And that is how we progress, right? Understand one thing that when even our heads up, they look for. So I've worked as a manager with Somaya in admissions too. So I've been at both places, being a leader, being a follower. And as I said, leader is someone is a personal choice. You can be a leader where you are. So I've observed one thing, even if you want to level up, you need to start working and acting like a leader uh, before you reach there, right? Before you reach a position, you need to show your capabilities and your abilities to do that. So that is what I would encourage all student teachers, new facilitators, and existing facilitators to work on. Don't stay in your shell, come out, be out there, be loud, and be present. Now, I have a fun quiz here. Actually, I would have loved all of you to participate in. This quiz will help you to answer a few questions and, figure out your leadership score. So if we could put this up on the website also, it would be great for everyone to participate. And it's confidential. It's just self-reflection, as I said, and will definitely help us to, look into it and just give us a direction where we have to work towards. Okay, now we are open for discussion if we have any questions, and I'll be glad to share that.
Thank you, Ms. Manju. If you can stop sharing the screen.
Absolutely.
Wonderful session. I thoroughly enjoyed. I wish we had more audience or anyone. I have a couple of questions received from other speakers.
Great.
So first question is, how can educators balance teamwork with decision making?
All right. So let's analyze, this question a little bit deeper and how I'm understanding this question. Teamwork and decision making. So one thing is there are some decisions that have to be taken alone. And whereas there are some decisions which should be open for, discussions, especially when we are talking about things that impact all the peers, all the employees. such things should be open. Like, for example, recently, the work timings for my institute were increased. I would have loved, for them to have a meeting with us to see whether we are all okay with it. So, some decisions should be open to more discussion, more inputs, if they are going to impact majorly the life of the peers and the employees and the students. Whereas some decisions which are, maybe budget related, those decisions need to be taken in a, in a alone space of someone with higher ups. So you have to decide between your decisions what require your team to be present there and your subordinates or your employees to be there. And at the same time, what decisions can be taken behind closed doors. Now, looking at it from the point of view of a facilitator, now, when you have to take decisions, firstly, you have to observe whether it requires authority or whether it requires some approvals or not. Certain decisions like, making modifications within your class, changing your teaching pedagogy or helping a peer, these things do not require any approvals, right? So here we can take our own decisions. Whereas where decisions are concerned, like you want to introduce a new event in the school, definitely you will have to consult with somebody, a coordinator or an events coordinator to plan it out. So that is how I would say we can approach depending on the decision that we have to take.
This is a very interesting question, ma'am. I think all the leaders face this.
Definitely.
How can educators lead with limited resources?
Okay. So now again, I would need some specifics, which resources we are talking about. We're talking about time, we're talking about finances. What are we exactly? Manpower.
Manpower, I guess.
Okay, so when we talk about manpower, definitely we have to balance it very carefully, not to overburden a particular team and at the same time achieving what we need. So especially one thing I believe in is if you build a good rapport and connection with your team, they would be willing to, put in that extra. So it's imperative. People management is very imperative over here. What kind of connection have you developed with your team? Then after that, you have to identify. So not everybody will be open to that additional burden in case you have a shortage of manpower and you need someone to, step up. So in that case, you need to identify those people who are self-motivated, who are proactive, who would be, the ones who would be happy to step in. So you can hold a meeting. You can ask them, frankly, if somebody would like to volunteer to take up this additional load, and accordingly you can adjust, ensure that you adjust other areas for them. Like, for example, if you can, cut down an event or two to manage additional classes for them. So show that you are meeting them midway. You're not doing it, you're not just asking them to do things, you are also trying to meet them midway. And based on that, you can, allot some classes. And if it is a short term, long term shortage, you can meet short term requirements, definitely. But in the long term, definitely we'll have to work on the budget and try to gain that additional manpower as and when possible. So this can be one of the ways where we can tackle this issue.
Right. So getting failed or failures are a part and parcel of any profession. So as a leader, coming to the education industry, how can educators stay motivated as a leader? It's a huge responsibility. Any leader will carry so much responsibility on their shoulders. So how do they make themselves get motivated?
Correct. A very good question. Definitely, failure is a part. So, when I talk about leadership, as I told you in this entire session, I look at it from the both point of views, as an educator and as someone in place of authority too, as a coordinator or a principal. So, one thing is sure that we all are humans. Okay. Now, in education, one thing that we observe is that hierarchy is so scanty that we do have, if we get into position, we should not forget that the next person in my team or even somebody who reports to me can be more knowledgeable than me. So, firstly, we need to be very secure where we are. That insecurity should be not there, that I should, I cannot take anyone's help. I cannot discuss this with my team. What would they think? I don't know anything. I can't do anything, maybe. Would they think like that? So we need to understand maybe everybody has their expertise, right? So being open to accept feedback in case you are falling short in an area or you have failed to do something. Maybe it is tech related, or maybe it is related to, we have not been able to deliver a particular list of events that we had to, or we are not able to, but then there's some challenge, whatever it may be. You can find someone to confide into. You can definitely take their inputs. You can discuss with your team for solutions. Okay. So that can be done. And even if you have failed in some aspect, you need to accept it. It's okay. It's a normal part and parcel, right? So accept it, but focus on the solution for it rather than wallowing in okay, how did this happen? How did I fail? Definitely there would be challenges. Don't let it get to you. Think about what we can do to remedy it. That would be one of the ways that I would suggest to handle failures.
So, ma'am, you have shared your example as when you
Yes.
have changed the policies or how you dealt in the
Correct.
COVID crisis and all that. So, other than that, can you share any other example where how can educators communicate effectively during crisis?
Yeah. So again, I let me if crisis by that we mean that something that we pushes us to go remote,
Right.
definitely. So technology is quite advanced. Today we have video calls, we have WhatsApp, we have so many platforms that we can use. We have even forums. For Cambridge facilitators, they have a forum, right? Where they can connect not just with their peers, but Cambridge teachers all over the world. So in that forum, they do a lot of problem solving, lot of discussions do take place. So join forums where you can definitely, connect with other teachers also and go beyond your peers. That can help you to communicate, get that support needed. And within the team, of course, we have all the plethora of digital tools nowadays. So communication should not be an issue technically, but definitely we have to have that inner motivation to reach out to our peers. So we should, especially the working in a remote environment, we often find that we are in our own world. We do our own things and then that's it. But there has to be a dedicated time given every week or every 3 days, as frequently as required, where the team meets together digitally, virtually, if there is a crisis. Okay. In case the crisis is something where technology doesn't work, so we can definitely, that would be a difficult thing to tackle. But there also we'll have to find some ways. If you have someone in your city who, especially for us, we are spread out all over the world in the kind of setup we have in our school. So there are few facilitators in my city to whom I can visit and connect with. Especially if you're in a physical school, most of your peers are going to be in the same city. So you can make that effort to physically go and meet if possible. So that can be a way in which we can communicate during a crisis also.
Communication is the key, right, ma'am? So, how can educators measure their impact, their leadership impact?
Okay, very good. That's an excellent question. So, for me, I would say in a very simple words, if I am able to inspire my team, if my team is emotionally happy in my within the organization, and there is no negativity, there is no resentment in them, I would say that I have been successful as a leader. That would be one of the things. I would give a personal experience, example over here. In my previous school, we had a leader. I mean, the way she approached, everybody makes mistakes, everybody has challenges, but the way she approached those challenges and the way she connected with her team, and without making it judgmental, without making the other person feel that oh my god, you have done something wrong, but having a problem solving focus on things, and then at the same time being polite and being sensitive and empathetic, that is very important. And if that is something that you do, your team, trust me, would follow you blindly. And if that happens, you can be sure that your leadership has made an impact. If you have been able to, grow 4 or 5 more leaders out of your, the way that you have been approaching the entire leadership process, if you are able to generate future leaders, then that would be the biggest impact as a leader that you have made.
Right, absolutely right, ma'am. So that's all the Q&A session, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions. And a couple of questions were sent by other speakers. So we also thank the audience for participating in the event. Anything else you want to mention, Ms. Manju, before I end the session?
Not at all, but thanks a lot for this opportunity. I mean, it's always fun to connect. It's always great to share with peers and also learn from peers. I'm someone who would be, attending the sessions regularly, and I do look forward to our future collaboration.
Yes, definitely. Thanks a lot. I'll end the session now.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
You too. Thank you.